Hi there, I'm Sam with We Don't Waste, a food recovery specialist, and today we're going to be making a very simple vegetable pasta using some great ingredients from the We Don't Waste distribution center. All right, so today for our pasta dish, we are using about half a bag of this linguine here. We will use a whole shallot and one whole yellow onion, as well as a whole zucchini, about half of a red bell pepper, about 4 cloves of garlic, a teaspoon of salt and pepper, as well as red pepper flakes, 2 Roma tomatoes, and then we have a pre-made spaghetti sauce in a can. We'll use probably about 3/4, possibly a whole can, as well as about a half cup of heavy whipping cream, and a cup of mozzarella cheese, and then we're gonna finish it with just about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan. All right, so to start our dish today, we are just going to bring a large pot of water to a boil. Put about 3 to 4 cups, as much room as you have in the pot, really. Fill it about 3/4 full. Bring that to a boil, and then as soon as that does come to a rapid boil, we're gonna throw, again, about half of this bag of pasta in. This is great just to get started. You can leave it at the side as you go ahead and prep our veggies. We got our shallot here. Same thing, I'm gonna keep all these nice little scraps to the side. Use that for our stock later. With the shallot, I am going to do a mince. So this is a super easy cut. Honestly, any way you want to get into it is fine. Get the skin off and then just kind of chop away. All right, you can really go as rough or fine as you want here. I think that's looking pretty good for today. I have our red bell pepper. For this, we're gonna do slices as well, about the same thickness as the onions. All right, next we are going to, I'm just gonna slice the garlic for pasta. You could also dice it as well. We're gonna discard these little ends, again, for our stock that we're gonna make later. So I have these ends. And then we're just gonna do a nice thin slice on the garlic. All right, and our last veggie to prep here is gonna be our Roma tomatoes. And I'm just gonna take this end off, use it for our stock, and we're just gonna do a pretty rough chop on the tomatoes. We'll quarter them first. And then just give them a rough chop. Again, definitely preference here. However you would like to cut these tomatoes is perfectly fine. You could slice them, you could cut them in much bigger chunks, smaller chunks. Anything's gonna be really great mixed in. And we just wanna give the pasta a stir every few minutes, make sure those noodles aren't sticking together at all. And like I said, once we're getting close to that 11-minute mark, we'll pull out a noodle and try it. All right, and it's time to saute our vegetables now. And we forgot to mention earlier, but you can use really any fat for sauteing that you might have on hand. We were able to rescue some butter from the distribution center earlier today, so we're gonna go ahead and use butter, but by all means, use olive oil, canola oil, anything you have on hand will be great for this recipe. We are gonna bring it to about medium-low heat, and then just lightly saute our onions and shallots. All right, so we got our onions and shallots lightly sauteing here. We're gonna keep stirring these every so often for about 4 to 5 minutes until the onions are a bit translucent. We don't want to take these too far, have a little bit of crunch left in them at the end. But again, one of the reasons I love this recipe, do it however you want to do it. You could start adding your other vegetable right now. You could take these onions way down farther and get a little more sweetness. All right, so we got those onions and shallots going for about 5 minutes here. Now we're gonna add in our red bell peppers, our zucchini squash, as well as our garlic. And give that a good stir. I'm also, once I get this kind of incorporated a little bit, gonna add just a little bit of salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes. Don't use it quite all yet. You can really build some nice flavor if you add salt, pepper, as well as seasonings throughout the process. Also, our canned tomato sauce that we have today is already seasoned with some nice like basil and oregano, some Italian herbs. If it wasn't and we were making our own sauce, this would also be a good time to add some dry herbs. But again, as we already have that in the sauce, we're just gonna let the sauce take care of it. All right, so we've let the zucchini, bell peppers, and garlic go for about 2, maybe 3 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and add in our chopped tomatoes. Give that a quick stir. I'm gonna do a touch more of the seasonings, a little bit more pepper, salt, and crushed red pepper flakes. And then we are gonna add in our sauce. All right, so and as you guys saw, the sauce is a little bit thick, maybe than I would like it. So one really easy trick, just take a little bit of water, add it to your can of tomato sauce. Make sure you're, again, using every last drop. And we're just going to pour that in to give a little bit lighter consistency to the sauce. Stir that, and we'll let this simmer for a couple minutes, keeping in mind that we are still gonna add some cream. If you weren't gonna add any more liquid to this, maybe add a little bit of stock or even some more tomato sauce. Alrighty, so last couple steps here. We had this sauce simmering for about 5-10 minutes just to let some of those flavors develop. We're gonna add a little bit of heavy cream. As with most everything else in this recipe, this is really up to you with how much you wanna add. We're gonna do maybe about a half cup or so of cream. Incorporate that. Again, we'll let this sit just for a couple minutes. Honestly, the more time you have, the better here. This can be made really quickly if you want. It's still gonna be delicious. The more time you can let this sit and let kind of all those flavors meld together is gonna be great. Once we have this cream incorporated and sitting for a few minutes, then we are just gonna slowly add our mozzarella cheese. Again, any cheese here will work. Mozzarella is a great kind of neutral cheese for this pasta dish. So we will slowly add some cheese in. All right, and again, we're just kind of slowly incorporating that cheese. A little bit at a time. Kind of continuing to stir. Another thing to keep in mind with this dish, some great alternatives would be to use a lower fat cheese or cream, even a milk alternative. You could make this recipe vegan by using almond milk, which would work great. Also gonna bring down kind of that fat content. All right, and then to finish our pasta dish, simply just spoon a little bit of noodles into a bowl, pour or scoop some sauce and veggies over the noodles. And again, if you'd like, I always like to finish it with a garnish of just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Some other great garnish would be some chopped basil. Again, really any greens you'd like to add, kind of brighten up this dish. All right, and there you have it. There is our finished vegetable pasta dish. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out our website at wedon'twaste.org for some great information on our mobile food markets, and we really hope to see you guys again soon.